Elon is gone or will be soon. Canada, we don't need anybody else's cars soon. Let's get to it.
Yeah, let's get to it. And apparently, I need to get to some better video because I'm not sure what just happened to my video feed. It's literally just
Uh,
crapped out.
why? What's going on?
Look, is it all washed out?
N- Uh, a little bit. Yeah. Hey, you're gone. Oh, yeah, there you are. You're on the side. Nobody else can see you. I can. Um, so he's having a little bit of a feed problem, and I'm going to assume that I'm still going. So for now, while he tries to get that fixed, uh, basically, Canada, well, sorry, a university in Canada. Oh, you're back.
I'm back. I don't know what happened. Okay, I fixed
A,
it.
a university in Canada, and this is the thing. I mean, at first I think like, oh my God, are you kidding me? It's like students put together a new electric vehicle that is, and I don't know any of the specs on this thing. I'm not even sure if the article I read, because I did read it, but I may have perused it a little faster than normal. If it mentioned anything about, its power or any other, I don't think they did. But and on the one hand, it's fascinating because it's basically students that did this originally as a project. However, it should be noted that a lot of great things have come about from major universities, University of Toronto, universities in England, and of course MIT in the U.S. Has put out umpteen months of things, high technology, new forms of technology, improved on technology. But it does seem to surprise people that Canada puts out things like this. And it makes me want to think, like, do we have to remind everybody that doesn't think Canada can survive on their, without help, that we have put forth a lot in technology over the years. uh First open heart, not sorry, open heart, that was a different thing. I'm thinking of the wrong one. But it was some surgery anyway, some form of transplant. It might have been a lung transplant, I can't remember, but it was a Canadian that did that. A lot of things that happened in Canada or by a Canadian first. I'm sorry to tell you, but it was a Canadian that invented basketball. You guys can have it. But it was a
That's
Canadian
okay.
that
We
invented
invented
it.
the internet, so it doesn't matter. Al Gore did
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah, to heck with Vint Cerf. Uh,
Just saying.
oh, sorry. That's the World Wide Web. That isn't even the internet. We should
Well,
we should we
whatever.
should we should specify that the
Yeah.
internet. You know what? I hate to say this because this is going a little off, but in reality, I'm pretty sure that the actual internet itself, not as it is today, but what would become the basis of the internet was actually invented by Americans. That's actually true. It's not the World Wide Web. I'm not talking about www dot and web pages.
It
But
was me.
uh what's that?
It was me. I did it.
It was you. You weren't live, dude. When did it first come about? 1962 or 3 or something? I can't remember.
I was alive. I was
Uh,
born in '68. Come on now.
I said 62 or 63.
You said 70.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not. We'll have to roll that back later. Anyways, the bottom line is over time, all of the communications that were being done originally on this, just for I think it was originally just the military and
Yes.
government,
It was an
and then it became,
intranet.
universities, and eventually you didn't have to have any kind of accreditation, and it decided to open it up. Now, it didn't actually open up fully until, good Lord, when was it? The late 70s or in the 80s, something along that line. But it was
I don't
still
know. I'm not
just
really sure
internet.
how we
We
got
didn't
off
get the
on
World
the
Wide Web.
history of the internet, but
I don't know. Because I'm just trying. I'm calling it as I see it. Right. Calling a spade a spade. Yes, a lot of people make jokes about Americans inventing the internet, but the fact of the matter was Americans invented the internet. They didn't invent the World Wide Web, what you're
yeah,
using on the internet. So having said
yeah.
that,
Okay.
yes, the Canadian car. It's barely past the prototype stage, unless they're still referring to it as a prototype. But in reality, yeah, in a few years, it may be something we may see, because they did say a fleet of them they were preparing to build. So it looks like a stepping stone. And obviously, for something like that, there's going to be other manufacturers that will take advantage of that, possibly more Canadian manufacturers, maybe a British one or two. Sorry about playing with my mic. Um,
Is it going to look like
and
a
that said,
Studebaker?
well, no, I was thinking more along the lines of that car Homer made in The Simpsons.
Oh
Got to
yes,
have like
yes, yes,
47
yes,
cup holders, right?
yes. Or it
Look
could
at
be a
that monstrosity.
it could be a Fred Flintstone mobile.
Yeah, feet only. Right.
Point 0.5
Okay, so
horsepower.
but that's an excellent segue into why is Canada even thinking about this? Well, this all started obviously long before the whole Trump fiasco. But again, it's kind of perfect timing in when they decided to unveil it. Uh, and here's the segue. The segue comes down to Doge, if you wouldn't mind. I'm not actually looking at you. I'm just looking this way to make it look like I am.
Oh wait.
Wrong
Okay,
way.
thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alrighty.
Yeah, so I guess Elon is saying he's going to step down from Doge in May, I believe it said, after $1 trillion you know deficit reduction.
Wasn't it like
And
1.7 or something like that, or some
I don't
ludicrous
know. The
number?
article just says 1 trillion. I don't know they got specific, but according
Yeah.
to what I'm hearing, I'm supposed to be getting like a $5,000 rebate check from the government because they're supposed to be sharing all this recovery with the American taxpayer, people who
That
pay
does seem a
taxes,
little
Mike,
ridiculous, doesn't it? How
people who
how are you,
pay
how are you
taxes.
saving this money if you're giving it back to the people while they're actually paying the taxes? I
Well,
mean,
because they
I
feel
understand it.
like the people paid more than they should have paid because they were being ripped off. I don't know. Look, if they want to give me
Hmm.
$5,000, especially right now, I'll take $5,000. But it's ridiculous.
Uh,
I don't think
Well,
anybody's going
there
to
we
see
have
five
it.
grand. I don't think anybody's going to see any money.
I don't think anybody's going to see me right now,
Oh, yeah, me
because
either.
we're just full of surprises today, aren't
Yeah,
we?
we are. It's been a
All right,
week,
let's
and
get you up on the screen, and I'll fix mine while you continue the
yeah. So
conversation.
Musk is supposed to step down. He said he was supposed to be. Let's see, special government employee. That's a great. I want to try. I want a title like that. A special government employee, and he was supposed to be for their 130-day term. And apparently that's going to be over in May, and he's achieved what he was supposed to achieve. And I call bullshit, but again, I'm not as smart as Elon. I'm not as smart as half the people in the White House. I don't do any of the United States finances, but I don't know. We'll have to see how that pans out. I honestly don't think it's going to be when it actually comes out and there's somebody that actually comes in behind him. I don't think it's going to pan out to be $1 trillion, but it could be wrong. And like I said, if I get a $3,000 or $4,000 rebate check because I paid too much taxes, then by all means, send it on. I'll take it. But of course, critics call for oversight. Really, who can have oversight? Because you fired everybody that's supposed to be in the oversight position. Who you gonna have do oversight? You're gonna suddenly hire some new attorney generals, attorneys general, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Welcome back.
hopefully I can actually stay on the
Welcome
screen for
back.
a little while this time. Hey, thanks. Good thing I didn't
Um,
switch them, then you would have been looking the wrong way again. Okay. Yeah,
Doge
so
claims on his website.
basically, I'm sorry,
sorry,
was that
as
at
of
the end of
March 27th, let me just say, because as it says on Doge's website, as of March 27th, it has saved Americans $130 billion, approximately $870 per taxpayer.
that is not making a hell of a lot of sense as far as I'm concerned. My camera's really messed up. Sorry. um I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be quite frank with you. What the heck? This really
Yeah.
is messed up.
We are having a Trump day here on the United We Stand, Divided We podcast. I am Robert from, I don't know, maybe the United States, and he is a Lionel from
Jesus.
maybe Toronto. Maybe it's Canada. We're not really sure where we are.
Oh my god. Ah, you've got to be kidding me.
There we go.
I fixed the camera and all of my cords tangled with each other. That's why I could get the
Of
thing to
course.
sit right.
Whew, man,
And
I tell
untie
you.
all of them. So I have no idea what you said or,
No, I was just
what
making
anybody said for that
I was just
matter.
making a joke about, obviously our shit's getting all jacked up just like the US economy right now. So,
Yeah, well, yeah, except in our case, it's actually kind of humorous. Um,
not for me.
I,
It's
I
not anymore.
yeah, you don't tell me. Uh, all right. So, you know what? Let's shift gears to something a little bit more positive.
We can't shift gears because
I
Tesla
can't
doesn't
figure
have
something out.
gears.
So let's talk about something else, period. Google, where the hell is Astra?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
been checking
that's
it every
right. Now
day.
you're saying, oh, we never said you would all have it. We said we would start giving it to you. Well, first of all, no, you didn't.
Yeah,
The internet doesn't lie if you
yeah.
actually screen grab that stuff. They said people should have it by the end of March. What, the three people that have it, including not a single solitary one who does reviews. Why wouldn't they send one to Marcus Brownlee, for instance? Like just like push it to his phone or send him a phone that has it pre-installed so that he could do a review of it. Send you one, on a
He's
Samsung, of
got way more
course.
clout than I do.
Yeah, whatever. But here's the thing: we can't demonstrate it. We can't look at it. I do want to say one thing though. If, by the way, we have to like go quickly, especially Robert, he is living in one of the areas that's under some storm watches. We'll just leave it at that, just in case this podcast goes long enough to use, but gets cut off suddenly.
Yes.
So we're going to get some of that same storm up where I am in Toronto, but nowhere near in the tornado or gale. Well, maybe gale force winds. That's entirely possible. We could still be looking at broken trees in the morning, but
Yeah, I've got one out front that it always makes me nervous when I have storms come through because it's already had two big. When I say big branches, I mean big branches, like that I had to
yeah,
like drag to the side of the yard for the city to come pick up because I couldn't lift anything.
yeah.
So yeah, I worry about
You
it
don't own a
heavily.
chainsaw.
I do not.
Mm.
Do not.
Every man should have a chainsaw, a sledgehammer, a hatchet, and an axe.
Um,
That sounds like a great country song, man.
you should sing that.
I'm gonna,
I have
I'm
some
gonna,
of
yeah,
those
I'm
things.
gonna have Gemini
I
help me
do not
write a
have a
country song.
chainsaw. So
Every man should have a chainsaw, a hatchet, and an axe. You know what? We're either going to get more views or less views because of that fiasco that just
oh
happened now.
gosh,
Either
there's
way,
no
I might be a
telling.
TikTok star now.
You don't even have TikTok. You can't be a TikTok star without being on
I don't have to
TikTok.
be the one that puts it on TikTok. It could be anybody. Maybe a
Well,
TikTok star. We can do a
I
TikTok
suppose
dance, a
somebody could
hatchet
cut
dance.
up our
You'll call it the hatchet dance.
the hatchet dance. Yeah.
Oh, I'm messing up my stuff. I'm a Keystone cop today. Let's
Uh huh.
let's Move on
Well,
with it.
hey, one positive thing on Google is that Wear OS is catching up to Apple OS. They say, which I didn't. I mean, I don't
Oh.
ever think it was like necessarily behind.
Oh
I
God, it was
always,
way behind. Are you kidding me?
well, in not in the last year or so. I don't think it
In
has
the
been.
last couple of years, I think that Samsung and a couple of Chinese brands were getting pretty close to even. And I'm not going to include the Chinese brands because we're talking about ones that weren't using Wear OS. But Samsung itself, since switching to Wear OS and being a massive contributor to that success, um, they have they've added stuff that even the Pixel Watch isn't doing yet. Although some of those things the Pixel Watch 3 has added, and it looks like they're going to add more and more with each iteration, and also some software updates to a couple of the older generations. My Pixel Watch 2, for instance, can do almost everything the Pixel Watch 3 can do. And I'm pretty sure it can do all but maybe two things that your Galaxy Watch can do. One of them is what do you call it? The
ECG,
no, no, it does that.
oxygen, blood oxygen.
Oxygen. It does the thing at night, but that's only just okay. Was my oxygen low or high at night while I was sleeping?
Yeah.
I want to know what it is right now. Like if I have a coughing fit and I can't, and I'm having a hard time breathing for the next 10 minutes, I want to know, is my blood oxygen a little low? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm getting up there. I'm 3 or 4 years older than 20, and and I gotta start watching my health.
Well, some
So
really cool things that, well, one in particular that Samsung is actually working on. My wife's a type 1 diabetic, and
right,
she has an insulin pump with a continuous glucose monitor. And Samsung is actually actively, heavily working on a way to read blood sugar through the skin. So you don't have to have like an embedded CGM. Now, as to whether it's accurate or not, I
right.
asked my wife about that, and she said, "Well, yeah, it would be possible to do that if the sensor was reading correctly." So
I thought
that could
that
be a
I thought
game
that there
changer
were
for a
things like that that
diabetic,
could be done already, but just not on a not for personal, like in
not
the
in a
medical industry.
consumer. Yeah, not a consumer device. There are
No,
other
not a
devices
consumer
that
device.
can.
No. Oh, so
Yeah,
so they technically, so they just need, basically they need to shrink it
I
and then
guess
and
there
then
are
make
some
sure it's
medical ways
approved.
of doing that, but
Right. Yeah.
whether you on a watch or not, I mean, again, I've seen my oldest son is type 1 diabetic. He was age 6. He's 30 now. So it's been a long time. No insulin pumps back then. And of course, this is before I ever knew my wife. And
Right.
I can tell you that when he got his first insulin pump, it was life changing because there was no more like you can only have one piece of bread, you can't have any cake. If you eat that, you can't eat this. And it was so restrictive. It's like unbelievable. But that's what you
Right.
had to do, right? That's just the way
Yeah.
the life was. When he got his insulin pump, now you can test your blood, and if you need a little more, you can bolus and you can add a little insulin. And of course, if you're getting too low, you can stop the insulin delivery and get something to eat and bring your blood sugar back up, et cetera, et cetera. So um, she now has a continuous glucose monitor that she wears that's stays on her. It Bluetooths to her phone, and then it communicates with the insulin pod that actually delivers insulin. So she no longer has an insulin pump that's attached by a tube. She used to have this insulin pump that was attached by her tube hanging off her body. And so she now has this nice compact, everything's kind of hidden, no more. She uses her cell phone to manage everything. It's phenomenal. So
Wow.
to have a watch that would be able to give you at least some kind of idea of a glucose reading would be, again, a game changer. That would be life changing.
Yeah.
She found a device not too long ago. It's called a Glowcose, Glowcose. And it's a device that you connect to your CGM readings, and it connects Wi-Fi in your house, and it changes colors depending on your blood sugar level. It's got a 1 minute interval So it goes from like reds to oranges to blues and greens. Obviously, blues and greens are like the middle ground. That's good. Purples are
Wow.
high, reds are low. So you can just look at this globe and know what your, not exact, but an approximate, like, hey, my blood sugar. And if you see it changing colors every minute, you know you're headed either in the up or down, right? It's again awesome. I actually reached out to the company
That's
because
pretty
I
cool.
wanted to do some marketing for them, some content creation, and I ended up
Yeah.
reaching one of the founders. They actually emailed me back, and I I do have a potential deal in place to do some
Well, that's
videos
excellent.
and possibly even some social media management. And they've sent me a device, and so yeah, it's really cool. It's really amazing because it doesn't
So
need to be connected to the
you will be
phone.
doing like a little review on your channel there, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've already got a video on the channel. They looked at
Uh,
it and they're like, wow, that's a really awesome video.
I'm
So
sure there'll be a link in the description for what he's talking about.
yes,
And
look, if
also
you
for
are
this
a
channel, don't forget to like, wait a minute, like and subscribe and bell.
if any of you out there of the 15 of you that were watching last week or watching this week are type 1 diabetic or this gets around anywhere, listen, this stuff is cool. So go check it out. And it's definitely has helped her sleep because that's one thing that studies have been showing that diabetics get the worst sleep because you're constantly up and down checking your blood sugars. But here's the cool thing, and I'll get off this here in a second, is you can actually have your child, let's say your child's a type 1 diabetic. You can have that globe connected to your child's glucose monitor and his phone or her phone. And as long as their phone has internet, no matter where they are, like they could be anywhere literally in the world, and you would know what their blood sugar is. And again, that can be life
So
changing.
wait a minute. Here's an interesting scenario then. Let's say there's a separated or divorced couple. Child goes to see dad for the weekend or mom, whatever. And dad's building a garage, and the kid's playing. His blood sugar drops. The thing communicates with his phone. Phone communicates back to this globe, and mom goes, "Oh no, hey Bob, did you know your son needs some insulin right now?"
Yep.
Even
Or
though it would do
hey,
automatically anyways, but
yeah. Do you know
that's
his
pretty
blood
cool.
sugar is 50? Or, or like, no, they wouldn't know 50, but they would know like in the orange, like that's too low. Like you got to
Right?
stop the
Yeah.
insulin and get
Okay.
something to eat, right?
That's
So
pretty
yeah,
amazing. We got technology is actually going like fast right now.
yeah, yeah,
Google has robots, dude. But we're not going to get too much into that right
yeah.
now, obviously, because I don't know squat about them yet. So it's not much to
But
talk about.
really what just got me on that rant was a watch, and it just
Yeah.
to think about like where things are going. I know a few years ago, I think iOS and Android have been really far apart. Definitely Android had a lot of catching up to do, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the way the article
But
made it sound like is it's finally just now, and I think over the last year or two though it's really been in the process of catching up.
it's
So
been a couple of years for sure. The first Pixel Watch, which was 6 months after the first Wear OS Galaxy Watch, if I'm not mistaken. Um, those were the game changers. That was the
mhm.
original Wear OS 3. We're on Wear OS
What?
5.1 now. Okay, so uh, Wear OS 4 was a decent improvement over Wear OS 3. Wear OS 3 was an entirely overwritten operating system. They took original Wear OS and they said this didn't work. Let's take the best of Wear OS, the improvements we can put into it, and take the best of Tizen and put that into it and make it only Wear OS. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't doubt it if it was actually Samsung that came up with the idea before Google. That wouldn't
Yep.
surprise me because they probably wanted to actually, because let's face it, they were just flat out full bore getting ready to dump Tizen at that point, anyways,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
because it was a failed experiment. Yeah, it's like unless your name is Apple, you can't have a walled garden. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Samsung is probably the closest it's ever come to it, but they were never going to be a walled garden unless they actually switched their phones fully to Tizen with no underlying Android. And that would have been a disaster because Tizen was absolutely horrid.
Yeah, I played around with it, and I said
Well,
I would never
yeah,
buy a Tizen device.
if they hadn't switched to One UI and totally wrote a different one, a lot of people when it first came out they said, "Oh, well, they've redone Tizen and just renamed it to One UI, but it's a lot better." No, it was never Tizen. They dumped it entirely, and they just decided to write a skin over. I mean, it's like basically One UI is pretty much no different than having one of those third party launchers. It's just a
Yeah,
launcher.
right,
And then they put Samsung apps in that need the phone itself to authorize the use of those apps. That's it.
right. Yeah.
It's 100%
Well,
Android.
and you have a Samsung TV, and of course, it still has Tizen on
Yeah,
the TV, but that's not really
it's
that big of a
garbage.
deal. Yeah, but you're not really using it
Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
you're like me. Like if you're gonna watch Google TV, you're not gonna use the app on the
Yeah,
phone. You're gonna watch your Google TV.
right.
And then you're gonna use the apps on the Google TV device. Like for example, ESPN or HBO or whatever the case may be. And so it's literally just turn the TV on and off and switch a few things. I will have to say that the S90D, that OLED I got, is much faster than previously on any other Samsung TV I have, but it's still very finicky. And sometimes I am actually having to like use the remote to switch the input because it doesn't auto switch for some reason.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
typical Tizen stuff.
Well, in fairness, I have that issue with other devices that have nothing to do with Tizen as well. But still,
Yeah.
it's a good point. Um, yeah, I find that I don't care what you get. LG's OS, for instance, is more responsive than Samsung's Tizen, WebOS, but it's still garbage by today's standards. 5 years ago, it was like, oh my God, this is so cool and it's so great.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand what WebOS is.
Right.
It used to be a phone software, and what probably would have been the best bloody OS on a phone you could ever imagine, but they didn't market it very well. And Android was starting to take off pretty good. iPhone was already well into the stratosphere by that point. Hadn't quite
Yeah.
gotten to space yet, but it was well in the stratosphere.
And of course,
So they didn't
Microsoft
stand a
missed the
chance.
boat.
What was the name of that phone again? I forgot. It was a
The
Palm phone, wasn't it?
Well, there was Palm, but they had a Trio. There was
That
a
wasn't it.
Trio. Well, one of
What was the one that used WebOS?
the Microsoft.
No, no.
No, I said
I can't
Microsoft
remember
missed the
what it was.
boat, and you said, "Oh, what was that one that they used?"
Well,
I don't.
basically, the bottom
I
line
don't know.
is almost every swipe gesture you use on a phone was done first on that particular device, way before anyone had any idea that that was going to be a thing. It was the
Yeah.
only phone that did it until who started the swipe gesture? And I'm not talking about swipe to open, but swipe to go back, swipe to move your,
Yeah.
to and multitasking. And well, it wasn't really a true multitasker because you could still only do one thing at a time, but you could have more than one thing open in memory. And it was the
Yeah.
first phone to do that. No other phone did it. Apple didn't do it at all until I think about 6 years ago, to be honest with you. Uh, no Android phone did it until at least 2 or 3 years after that. You had an app open, you had to close it and open the next app. There was no switching apps back and forth back in those days.
Yeah. And then of
So
course the early renditions of Android, when you get too many things running in memory, because it wasn't very good at memory management, you would get this like glitchy, and you have to go in there and manually
yeah,
start closing. Which I still do that today because it's just a habit. I don't really need to do it as much, but
which a task switcher wasn't very good because you couldn't really use more than one
yeah,
app at a time. So the task switcher itself would get stuck. So
yeah,
you couldn't even
exactly,
open it to close anything. So
yeah,
the thing to do at that time was actually to have another app that would actually manage these things. And any time
yeah,
you went beyond a certain amount of memory, it would close the previous ones in order.
yeah,
But uh, I think only KitKat was the first one where they said, "Don't do that anymore because we're managing it for you." And
Yeah,
they were
it did a
right.
pretty fair
You
job.
stop
Yeah.
using apps at the time though. KitKat, depending on the phone you had and how much memory, it would be between 3 and 5 apps that you could keep open, unless it was like the absolute highest end phone. Then maybe 8. Now you can have like 50 apps open
Yeah,
in memory
I never
easily.
get that many.
Well, no,
Sorry,
but I'm just saying you
sorry. I
could.
keep looking.
You could.
I keep getting alerts. I just want to make sure it's not a weather alert that I need to pay attention to. So sorry.
Yeah, it still says watch. So far we're
Yeah, I
good.
just didn't. Much as I could
Yeah,
just
it's
not
it's
paying
it's if that
attention.
changes to warning is where you gotta. Wow, you're getting thunder and everything, aren't you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
My phone is going absolutely nuts right now because it's just vibrating because I'm on the screen for your town
Oh
and
yeah,
and and on the Pixel Weather app when you open it without scrolling down, it's got the animated weather, and so if it's raining lightly, it's just a very very light haptic
yeah.
feedback.
Nice. Yeah,
If it's raining
that's good.
heavy, and then it's heavy light, heavy light, heavy light. If it's snowing, then it's kind of like almost feels like a sort of a light thud. But when it's thunder, it's like that feedback, crashing feedback, crashing feedback. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's funny
But
talking about the swiping though. Brings me up an interesting situation because my wife does not use swipe. She uses the bar at the bottom still. She likes it with the back button and the task button and the center button.
wait a minute, hang on a second.
And so when I go from my phone to her phone,
Sorry, I had to do the eye
I'm I'm
roll thing.
like I'm like, why isn't it? I was like, oh, you don't do swipe. I'm
Oh
trying to
yeah,
swipe and swipe. It's so confusing for me sometimes. But that's the way she
yeah,
likes it, and that's the thing. Let's see again. That's the thing that I like about Android is that you have options.
yes,
You still have some options.
exactly.
If you want to use it that way, use it that way. It's some people are just accustomed to
Options,
hitting the
baby.
back. Yeah. So
Yep.
I just think it's funny because I end up swiping things. I'm like, I feel like I'm using an iPhone. I can't do anything.
iPhone. Um. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Speaking of swipe, jeez, I keep hitting that thing. Speaking of swiping, if we could just swipe to delete uh the next 4 years. Well, no, we're not going there because we already did. Um,
I do not know what's going on with my camera.
I don't. Wow, yeah, that was crazy. I thought you were outside for a minute. Either that, or it was the longest lightning strike in history.
No.
Bang.
It's the camera doing something weird. I'm not really sure I'm not sure what's
Um.
glitching here, but who knows?
Okay.
But hey,
All right. Yeah.
listen, on another positive note, outside of Google, unless you got anything else Google. Oh,
No. No. No more
there's
Google.
no more
Oh,
Google.
geez, sorry, I keep smacking into the mic. I'm trying to turn it because everything's falling apart on me today. I don't know what's going on. My watch still working?
um the Senate is voting to reverse Trump's tariffs. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Are they actually voting, or is it they're talking about voting?
Well, it says Senate
Because
to
that's
vote
what
to
I read
reverse Trump's
last.
tariffs on Canada, test Republican support. Because apparently there's a lot of
Oh, okay.
Republicans that are backing the vote.
Yeah. Well, because we already knew there were some. But I mean, inevitably, and here's the thing: anybody out there, and much like you said, if the government wants to give you $5,000, you can know in the bottom of your heart that it's a bribe, and still be smart enough to take it, right? But it doesn't mean you have to vote for him the next time. And
No.
before you think, oh, you can't vote for him the next time, let's just hope that that doesn't happen. Anyways, but that said, it really is, and I'll give you an example on a much smaller scale. Recently, we were given $250 from, was it the federal government or provincial government? Federal, no, provincial government. Um, because well, too many taxes and blah blah blah, and we have to. Yeah, and they didn't say stop the steal. I can't remember. It sounded very similar to it, by the way, though. But we have to stop this and stop that and blah blah blah. So everybody's getting their $250. I took my $250. You damn right I
Nice.
did. But you know what? The next election, do you think I'm going to vote for that dude? No. Listen, I know you're not going to watch this, Mr. Ford. I'm not voting for you. If you do see it, think about that for a minute. Why? You gave me $250 of my own money, and I, I'm still not going to vote for you. Okay. Anywho, having said that, it's a different thing, and yes, everyone's trying to look at him as a hero. But my point is that he did that because he did that and then called an election immediately, or maybe it was reverse order. But that was the point. And then he won the damn election.
Okay. So apparently Lionel
All
has
right.
completely. Oh, there you're back. Your audio's back.
No, I'm not. I'm only back in audio.
Yeah, that's why I said your audio's back. Yeah, audio disappeared too. But
Oh well, yeah,
uh,
okay.
yeah,
We're having a bad week entirely here.
yeah,
I think we've gone on for a bit here for such a
yeah,
hodgepodge of interesting disasters. You have to be prepared for the weather you've got going, so we should probably call it an
yeah,
evening
yeah.
anyways. Nobody needs to see this blank space. So I'll basically, let you talk us out and my buys are gone.
Okay. Well, listen, sorry everybody. This has obviously been a technically challenging week, but hey, there's always next week, right? So make sure you tune in, like, subscribe, check all the cool things out. I'm Robert from the US, and that was Lionel from Canada. We'll see you next week. Peace.